Hello, I'm Floyd Fain, owner of Redmaster Harrow. Today we're going to talk about the T-Rex and go over some of the features that this unit offers. The T-Rex is basically our all-in-one harrow. We've taken everything that we've have in our other harrows and combined it into one. This actually came about from people calling that already had one and said, hey, could you add this, could you add this? So we basically sat down and just figured out a way to design it to where we could have a paddle wheel with a float pan. We could have two float pans for arenas that are really loose, or if we needed two paddle wheels for one that really clods up, we could take and combine all this together. And that way people could buy different implements and still have an all-in-one for a multi-purpose arena. What we're going to start out with is our ripper. This particular unit is our hydraulic ripper. On our 8-foot version, which is what this is, we have one hydraulic cylinder that controls all your teeth. On our 10-foot model, we have two hydraulic cylinders to keep the unit from binding when you're in really hard ground and you're really having to work the unit. If you order a manual ripper, all we do is replace this hydraulic cylinder right here, and we put in a manual top link. That allows you, if you don't have hydraulics on the back of your tractor, that allows you to still purchase the ripper and be able to adjust it just by one adjustment. Our ripper is kind of unique in the way that we attach it to the harrow. It is an attachment. So you can take it off if you want to. We don't suggest that, but if you want to, you can. But the big difference is it's on pins and it's adjustable. We can adjust our ripper without having to adjust our harrow. Our harrow can stay flat on the ground. Everything behind it gets to do what it was designed to do, but yet we're able to really get into hard, compacted ground. And this is achieved by the bottom being on pins so that it will swivel, and an adjustment here. All you have to do is pull this pin, tilt it forward, and as you tilt forward, it takes the ripper teeth and points them more down into the ground. In doing that, it makes it much more aggressive. So you have different settings there where you can get in if you're just working in semi-hard ground or if you're really working in compact ground. As we go back, you'll see the tires and the wheels. This is something that is very important when you're working ground and you have people in the tractor that really might not be experts at working the ground, and you don't want them having to sit there and play with their float back and forth on their tractor. On our units, they all have tires and wheels. And basically what you do is you lower this thing all the way to the ground. Your 3-point goes all the way to the ground. And it sets on these tires and wheels. And what that allows you to do is to control your depth and not have to worry about burying the ripper in the ground, getting too deep and getting into something that you don't want to get into. You don't have to be an expert to run it. As we go back, you'll see the S-tines. The S-tines are a grooming tool. They're not made to just really dig. All your digging is going to be done with your rippers up front. These S-tines are controlled by one link, and this is what sets your depth. Now, like I said, the S-tine is nothing more than a grooming tool. We don't want to go in and try to use those to break up hard ground because that's not what they're designed for. The rippers, I like to usually run my rippers 4 to 5 inches deep and then come behind it with the S-tine set at about 2 inches deep. What that does, that goes and fills everything in underneath the ground with those working on top, and it allows you to set a base underneath the fluff on the top, and you don't have to worry about getting down to hard pan. If a horse breaks through that 2 or 3 inches and wants to go on down to 5, he's still not on hard pan. He's actually sitting on ground that you've already broke up with the rippers up front. Next, we get back to the paddle wheel. The paddle wheel is kind of twofold. What it does, first and foremost, what people know it as, it's a clod buster. Some arenas have clay, sandy loam. A lot of your outdoor arenas at houses, they're going to be just natural dirt, so they have a tendency to want to clod. This paddle wheel is used to break up those clods. Also what it does, it adds fluff to your footing. Our paddle wheel is designed like a paddle wheel on a boat. What it does is it actually hits down into the ground and flips the dirt. Okay, as it does this, it allows air to be trapped inside the dirt. Okay, so what that does is that gives you a good cush ride. The last thing on the back of the harrow is our float pan. Okay, the float pan is used to smooth, give you a good finished look on top, and also what it does is it helps trap the air inside the ground, adding to the cush feel. We call it a float pan because when this harrow is set up properly and being used right, that float pan back here floats, okay? It's gonna float in the stirrups back there. What that allows is, if you're like working a barrel race or you're working your ground and you're going pretty fast, as you turn, your tractor wants to dip, okay? I mean, it has to. That's just the laws of physics. Well, as that dips, if you're going fast enough, even though with it setting on the tires and wheels, your harrow's gonna wanna dip a little bit. With the floating action on the float pan and the paddle wheel, we don't ever get into a situation where the harrow tilts and the float pan goes in and digs in and starts to create a hole in your arena. As you turn, if it does wanna tilt a little bit, well then the float pan will raise up and it just keeps the ground smooth and keeps from pushing the dirt out. That's the features of the T-Rex. If you have any questions, give us a call. Thank you.